Minimising anxiety. Autistic students typically experience much higher rates of anxiety than others, although this may not be obvious to staff. Increased rates of depression and suicide are reported, especially for individuals with Asperger syndrome who are likely to be diagnosed later in childhood.
I sometimes find myself being a little bit withdrawn, like maybe I find it difficult to go out and go into social events, searching it out myself.
Where autism can affect me negatively is that sometimes I find it hard to communicate my needs. I find it hard to ask for help or to realise that there are other people at the university who know an answer or would know how to support me through a particular topic or a particular issue within a piece of coursework.
Staff need to know that sometimes I feel overwhelmed, but I won't necessarily tell you that I feel overwhelmed because I don't always realise that it's okay to be, to have a breaking point sometimes.
Another thing that I'd like staff to know about supporting students with autism is that generally when we get very stressed we can often struggle to process verbal information. So that means that around obvious times of stress, things like Freshers' Week, exams, coursework and assignment deadlines, it's often much better to communicate electronically or in a visual way. And it's around these times of high stress that it's really important that things like lecture slides are up on Canvas as early as possible.
Sometimes I start comparing myself to other people or to the ideal version of me. Which doesn't exist. Like I say, I should be like this, and actually we're all different and we all have different strategies for coping with things. I was speaking to my dissertation supervisor the other day as I was worried that I was really behind, but she set me straight and she said that actually I'm on the right track, and that she's had worse students than me, so that was a relief. I feel like sometimes I need another perspective other than myself, otherwise it's looking into a warped mirror all the time.
A lot of people on the autism spectrum experience something called a shutdown, which is when a person is facing extreme emotional turbulence or changes. They tend to just shut everything down and stop communicating with everybody or anybody around them.
The biggest difficulties, I suppose, are during the study weekends. We have 2 of those a year, and they can be extremely intense and very busy. You're often in a large room where there are a lot of people milling about, and I can get a bit overwhelmed and confused by what's going on when that's happening.
Takeaways. Struggling students might find it hard to ask for help. Checking in with them can overcome this. Quiet students may actually be overwhelmed students. Providing information in different modes can make it much more accessible for students experiencing stress. Use Canvas and email to communicate key information. Be aware of potential social challenges and social isolation.